You're listening to Living Free, your podcast for a life full of freedom and magic. I'm your host, Tanja Hirsch, and I hope that every time you listen, you feel a little bit more inspired to follow your intuition and to create a life beyond your wildest dreams. Welcome back to the Living Free podcast. Today I have such an activating, energizing interview with Garrain Jones for you. If you don't know Garrain, he's one of the most powerful leaders in the industry. He's a 7-figure transformational life and business coach, a #1 best-selling author. Change Your Mindset, Change Your Life. If you haven't read it, make sure to add it to your list. He's a master healing facilitator and sold out international keynote speaker, and you can feel it in his energy. He's such a powerful presence, so activating, so energizing that you feel like, you just want to take action when you listen to his voice. And he helps creative professionals to go from feeling stuck and out of alignment and unfulfilled to fully express themselves in their most authentic nature that, ripples out to all areas of their lives. And his story is so inspiring. He went from being $200,000 in debt, living in his car for 2 years and being an ex-convict, to earning millions, impacting millions, and living his life as a fired-up superhero on an adventure. And he talks a lot about his story, how he flipped his mindset, how he started to change things, how he did things, little things in life that added up to really completely change his whole life. And he believes that if he was able to do that, that anyone can overcome the blockages in the way to manifest their own creative masterpiece of life. So I hope you loved this conversation as much as I did. And we talk about the artist power, how to tap into your creative flow within. He shares his personal story around it, his work, how he manifested his life and his wife. We talk a lot about relationships and also what makes their relationship so special and how he called in this woman that is a reflection of the inner work that he has done. He shares the love meetings that they're doing to keep their relationship their #1 priority in their lives and to keep it juicy and fulfilling for both of them. And I would love to hear what came up for you if you listen to this. So reach out to me or Garrain, let us know how it activated you. And now, without further ado, let's welcome Garrain Jones to the podcast. Welcome to the Living Free podcast, Garrain. I'm so excited to dive deep with you today.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me on.
So the first question I ask all of my podcast guests is, what does living free mean to you right now in this moment?
Someone just asked me this the other day, and living free is actually living, not existing in life. I have intentional eating, intentional sleeping, intentional rest, intentional people that I hang out with, and making intentional success, and everything in my life is created and authored by something that I've been working towards, not something I settled upon, not something I'm fighting for, not something that somebody handed me. It's my life the way that it is. When I look in the mirror and the truth shows up and nobody's around, I'm really proud of what I see. And before I go to bed at night, there's no voices in my head. It's peaceful and it's calm. I go to sleep and there's a sense of fulfillment inside of me. That is what living free means to me personally.
I loved it so much. And I can imagine that it wasn't always the case that you looked at yourself in the mirror and you see what you see now and you feel the way you feel now. Can you take us back a little bit? How did your life change in the last few years, and how did you activate this abundant life? How did you create it from within?
Well, I'll say this. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred. So all my life, I've always had this high level of energy. I just never knew where to put it. Breaking into houses, I was extremely successful. Getting the most beautiful girl, I was extremely successful. Or, just making money, but it wasn't about how I was making the money, but I was successful in whether it was like breaking into cars, breaking into houses, however I did it. I took this same capacity of energy and I put it in a direction that wasn't actually fulfilling me or serving me in moving forward. So I'd say all of that came to a crashing halt in 2011 when I was $200,000 in debt. My girlfriend had just broken up with me. My daughter pretty much disowned me. I was living in my car for 2.5 years because that same energy I put into depression, anxiety, blaming myself, shame, guilt, insecurities, and not doing anything about it. I just put all of that energy into the most negative, extreme states of minds. And 2011, 3:43 in the morning, I just remember screaming out, okay, I'm tired of fighting. I don't want to fight anymore. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be surrounded by nothing but positive people. I just want to inspire people and make a bunch of money, but I want the money to represent something that I passionately believe in. Just show me a sign. Well, that was 2011. Now we're 2022. There was a moment where I was at a gas station a week later and a homeless guy walks up to me, asks me for money. And I say, you have more money than me. And he said, change your mindset, change your life, and walks away. And I know some people are listening. They're like, a homeless guy said that? No, that signs can come from anywhere, but are you humble enough to actually hear them? Yes. I think the universe stripped me away from all the things that I gave power to in my past, to the point where I was such in a state of humility to deliver a message through the channel of a homeless man to change my mindset, change my life. Something dropped inside of me. And every day since that moment, I've trained myself to do the opposite in areas of my life where I wasn't happy. Now my life is a direct flip to where it was. So I was homeless. Now I own several homes. I was $250,000 in debt. Now I've encapsulated that in income revenue streams, maybe 100 times over in the last few years. Easily. Where people didn't want to be my friend, I've been able to impact millions and millions upon millions of lives. And so my life is a direct flip because of the way I was thinking, the way that I was being, how I was using my heart, how I was using my gifts, and where I pointed that energy. So I took that same energy and redirected it to filling up my own cup. And now the world gets to benefit from the overflow that I first give to myself while continuously evolving through this thing called life.
Wow, that's such a powerful story. Thank you for sharing. And it sounds so easy when you say, just change your mindset, just fill your cup first. How did you get rid of the layers around your light and the conditioning and your limiting beliefs and all the deep healing work that can really be anything but easy? What was the necessary work that you needed to go to really embody your light, to really step in your own power and your, you call it artistic power, right? Artist power.
Artist power. So
Artist power.
It snuck up on me. So because I had this phrasing, change your mindset, change your life, do the opposite. I just started with things that I knew that I could do. Normally I would take the escalators and then I said, change your mindset, change your life. So I started taking the stairs. Normally I would use gel soap when I was taking a shower, change your mindset, change your life. So I'm going to use bar soap. Normally I would go to the nightclubs looking for a different woman to sleep with every night. Change your mindset, change your life. I started reading books, attending personal development seminars, and I started chasing a better version of myself to take home every single night. So I started training myself And I didn't know that it was going to create this. But I've always been a big fan of puzzles since I was a little kid. So then I started noticing certain patterns in my life. Well, when I do this and I do the opposite of this, it creates a new result. So I got in the habit of creating different results because I was doing different things with the same circumstance. And how artist power was born. So here I am on this new trajectory of life. And I'm fulfilling it. I'm making this money. I'm inspiring and empowering millions of people on TV shows, podcasts, radio stations, best-selling book. This wasn't that long ago. And I was like, I feel like something is missing. There's something like nobody online has experienced the true essence of what I have to bring to this world. Only people who experience me one-on-one, or if I do some kind of activation, but nothing online, no posts, no photos, no videos, no podcasts. And I sat alone in a dark room and I did a deep meditation. And my intention was to call upon my ancestors to use me as an open channel to communicate a message to humanity. So, you know, you ask yourself different questions, you'll get different answers. Not like, what's wrong with me? When is it ever going to happen? Well, that's why it'll never happen, because you don't even believe in yourself. I'm actually calling upon what has me here in the first place. 400,000 people had to die just for you to be here. These are your ancestors. You don't think some part of them is not inside of you? So when I did that, it was revealed to me. They say, Garrain, you're trying too hard to fit inside of other people's narratives. Look back at your life of things that you've never really even trained on, but you've always been good at. And this always create a great outcome. I thought about when I was a fashion model. I thought about when I was in acting. I thought about when I was labeled special education and had a speaking impediment when I was in middle school and high school, and then became a global speaker, and then started training people how to speak and show their presence on stage and on panels and things like that. And the result that they got every single time was confidence, fully expressed, and I'm not afraid to be brave and take more risks. When I was done modeling and I retired, I started training other models how to walk the runway, how to be on camera, and like really be confident, expressed, and take more risks. Then I started training models and actors. Like I started doing workshops with 13, 14, and 15-year-olds how to truly be in their body and be fully embodied. No one ever trained me on that. It's just something that's always been inside of me. Well, while I was in this meditation, they said, Garrain, that's where your answer is. It's inside of the power that's been inside of that little kid inside of you the entire time. That little kid has always been an artist, but you went away from the art. He's always been a creator, but you went away from the creation to please everyone else. And they said, get back to the artist, get back to the creator, and then you're going to create, awaken the artist within. I had never heard of that before, nothing. And literally, I said, I'm going to create a retreat called Awaken the Artist Within. And I'm going to teach people how to tap into their artist power and utilize it in their life so that they're fully confident, fully expressed, and they brave and they take chances in their life without overcompensating and putting on masks to fit inside of other people's perspectives. I created the retreat. 4 weeks later, it was sold out. It's 47 people, and it was a high ticket. Right after the retreat, I created a mastermind called Artist Power Expressed, doubled the price. That sold out. And then I have another retreat coming up, October 13th, and it's the second rendition of the retreat. So I have 3 different tiers. There's Awaken the Artist Within, there's awareness, then there's reinvention, and then there's expressed. This one will be the reinvention part of the retreat. and it's almost sold out. Like literally, I just launched it a month ago and it's almost sold out and we're getting double people. So that artist power is a power that lives inside of every human. And that's the little kid who is brave, who is fearless, who is passionate, who is energetic, and it was unlimited amount of energy. I found a way. There's always more than one way, but I found a way to teach people how to tap into their artist power so that they can bring their full selves to whatever it is that they're doing.
Wow, that sounds really incredible. So after your first retreat and after your mastermind,
it blew up.
What do you see in people? What's the most common reason why they put themselves in boxes and why they please others before they honor their own needs? Why do they dim their own artist power?
Well, when you think about a little kid, you ask a 5-year-old, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be the president of the United States. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be an Olympic athlete. It's always something massive. And then you ask that same kid 20 years later, most kids are not doing that. The adults working a 9-to-5 job out of security and fear to get paid less than your value. It's because most kids give up on their dreams. Most kids, their first source of abandonment, they think it's their mom or their dad. It's actually them abandoning their original dream or abandoning what was deeply rooted in their heart to maybe because mom didn't approve or dad didn't approve or society didn't approve, or I wanted to be a superhero. And people are like, oh, get real. Why don't you want to, but this is what I was saying coming out of high school into college. I want to be stronger than the average man, have abs like an action figure, and save and change lives all over the world. And everybody called me crazy. Do you know why? I've traveled to 75 countries and spoken on stages, 55,000 people, 60,000 people, and I can just keep going and going and going. Y'all see the adult, but it's not. It's little Garrain who wanted to be a superhero, fully tapped into his artist power, stronger than the average man, abs like an action figure, saving and changing lives all over the world. So people abandon their original dream to possibly please mom or dad or society, or to not look stupid around their friends because their friends might be doing something else that seems cooler. I teach people how to remember themselves in a way that feels safe in the nervous system. And when the nervous system feels safe, it just opens up and it expresses, it lets go of the trauma. It lets go of a lot of things. And I also teach people how to accept all of it so that they can embrace all of themselves.
Wow. Thank you for sharing.
You're so welcome.
And one other topic that I would love to dive in with you. I know your relationship life changed a lot as well in these last few years. So how, like also flipped completely. How did you make it happen? How did you manifest your wife and your life when it comes to relationships?
So one, I think everybody who's wanting to be in a very powerful relationship that actually works should probably take notes on this one. I am the person who would never be in a committed relationship. I am in the past the person who just slept around, went to the next person, went to the next person. Oh, it's too difficult. Went to the next person. This is not my person. Simply because I didn't know what I was looking for. I was going for the kind of girls that I wanted in high school without upgrading my technology. I never knew exactly what I wanted. Nice girl, exotic, nice legs. So I'd get a good looking girl, nice legs, exotic, shitty attitude, shitty mentality. She didn't know how to take care of herself. So I had to babysit her up the growth because I didn't know what I was looking for. And then one day I was reading a book called When God Winks, the first edition. There's like 6 editions. The first edition by Squire Rushnell. And every book I've ever read on relationships, I've always skipped a chapter because I didn't I didn't want to attract it. I didn't want to know anything about it because I was like, oh, whatever. But every area of my life where I became skilled at has excelled 10x. But I never did one study on relationships. So finally, I looked at this chapter on soulmates coming back from Brazil. And I was like, fine, I'll just open up the book. And I turned to the chapter and I read it. And it was talking about how to attract your soulmate. And it said, you write a list. I was, well, I've written a list before. My list had 3 things on it. It said, no, you got to be really specific and call in what you really want. And so I started writing down 7 different attributes. And on the 5th attribute, I was like, nah, I'm being too picky. And I was like, wait a second. This is my ideal woman. This is my perfect person. I know she doesn't exist, but I'm going to write it down anyways. I wrote down 62 attributes. She doesn't get sloppy drunk. She knows how to make her own money. She loves reading. She loves personal growth. She's God-centered. She loves going to seminars. She's disciplined. She's healthy. Great hygiene, beautiful inside and out. Has a great understanding of sports. She's structured because I wasn't structured. So I know you take 2 unstructured people, you'll never get anything done. I knew what I wanted to call in. And I said, this person does not exist. But if you do, you hold the key to my heart. And I lost the list. 3 years goes by. In those 3 years, the relationship that I did not have with my daughter somehow magically crystallizes with her back into my life in a way that it had never been. My daughter is 15 years old. All of a sudden, I started pursuing her and becoming the kind of person. I became the kind of man who in my mind, I'm like, I am the kind of person who my daughter will marry one day, instead of this weak person running behind all of my shame for not showing up in the past. Can't do anything about the past. All I can do is anything about right now. So I shifted who I was. I am the most powerful representation of who I will marry one day. And then I realized, oh my God, I've never pursued a woman ever in my life. I've never made them feel safe. I've never actually listened to them and acknowledged them, acknowledged their hearts and their feelings. And I said, what if I do that with my daughter? So I did. And I became that person. And I developed that trust. And she started calling me dad. And she started, because that's all she ever craved. She didn't care anything about my success or impact. What she cared about is the presence and the pursuit of her father. When I showed up in her life, everyone she was dating, the person she was dating, she stopped dating because she saw a different version of me. And I was the representation of a man. So every time I leveled up, she got rid of that boyfriend and then upgraded to another one. And so when I became the kind of person that my daughter could trust, and I gave her my time, effort, energy, creativity, that's when I met my wife. And here's the beautiful thing. She was just my friend, but every time I talk to her, text her, FaceTime her, there was just like this flutter just lighting up inside of me. And then one day I found my list while spring cleaning my house. I was like, oh my God, here's my soulmate list. And this is why we were friends. She said, read it. I read off all 62 attributes. And when I took the notebook away, she was like, she had and has all 62 attributes. And I also wrote how I wanted to feel in the relationship. She treated me that way. And I also wrote on that list the top 5 places that I would meet her that I hadn't been to before. The one that was circled and starred was at a personal development seminar. I met her at a personal development seminar. That's how I met
Wow,
my.
that's incredible. And how, what's the tip you have for couples if they, how to stay in a relationship like this? Because sometimes we get so excited and we become the person and we are in the relationship and we fall back into old patterns. How do you stay this person that you became to create and to sustain the relationship that you desire?
So there's a lot of couples. See, we study from people who've been in relationships for 50, 60 years, but actually in love. There's people that put up with other people in relationships for 30, 40 years. But we studied them, and those all became our friends. So how I live my life as someone who is single is very different than how I live my life now. I surround myself around other respected couples, so I'm always learning and growing, and we go out and we do couple things. I'm not doing this single stuff. So I didn't treat this like a diet. I didn't treat being in a relationship like a diet, so I can only go back to how it used to be. Like when you're in a relationship, your life as you know it as a single person is done. And can you be with that? And that's where the confusion goes in. It's like, well, I feel like I'm just not free, but you can be free inside of this the second you let go of that, because you're no longer a single person. You can still be an individual inside of a container. And so what I do is I find models that I know, love, trust, and respect. We have a sex coach, we have a relationships coach, and everywhere where we have a coach is 10x. So it's difficult to learn it on the spot. So what we do is we create, what kind of relationship do we want? Okay, once we create that, okay, well, what does love mean to you? Well, what does love mean to you? Because love could mean 2 different things to 2 different people. But if you never have the conversation, you don't have any context. Without any context, you're throwing a dart at 0 targets. So having context on where each other are in each other's world. What does love mean? What does intimacy mean to you? What does sex mean to you? Because sex doesn't typically mean putting it in a hole and done. Like sex could actually be kissing. You know what I'm saying? But that's because I think that way, but my wife might not think that. So when we don't have the conversations, that's where you miss. We have the money conversations, we have the sex conversation, the hard ones. What does this mean to you? What would happen in this scenario? What wouldn't happen? Do you get mad when this happens? If we ever have kids, are they going to go to church? Are they not going to go to church? So we talk and we communicate based off of the goals that we set. I know her goals. She knows my goals. We know the game that we're playing. So because we know the game that we're playing, that's the stimulus that's moving us forward instead of being on the defensive. Well, she said this and he said this and he said that. We know what game we're up to. We're playing a completely different game when we have a target that we're both going for, that we've agreed upon, and that we're committed to. Most couples do not have that. And a lot of them are my friends, which is why they come and they're like, oh my God, just changed the game in a quick conversation.
So powerful. And I know you too, I saw it on, I think, Sky Coven's show, that you have like a relationship check-in every week.
Yeah,
Is it every week? Can you share a little bit about that if couples want to implement it?
So you know how like somebody will have a business and they have business meetings so they can go over what worked, what didn't work. Any successful company has it so that they can continue to evolve rather than let all the things pile up. And then at the end of the year, you want to know why your company went to shit. You can clearly see it because you didn't tackle these things week by week. So we've created a meeting once a week inside of mine and Blair's relationship. We call it the love meeting. And there's about 7 pillars, and one of them it's about scheduling. Things don't pop up. She has my schedule on her phone. I have her schedule on my phone. And so in the beginning of our, 30 to 1 hour meeting, it's like, oh, that's too much time. It's like, you can give time to everything else but your relationship. That's why it's failing. So we take an hour. And then we look at our schedules. I have this on Monday. Can you watch the baby this time? And then we get all of that. It makes both of us feel safe and not have to wonder, oh, is he going to be home? And why isn't he here? I don't feel supported. All these things. So we go over scheduling, and then we go over, is there anything that you need support with this week? Oh, baby, I have a very, very, very tough week. I just need you to champion me and cheer me on. Even if you see me tired, I've got a really big workload. Okay, cool. And then she'll say the same thing. Now, the third thing, we talk about date night. What worked last week? Because we do a date night once a week, which is every Friday. Okay. What worked? What didn't work? How we can make it better? And what will we be doing this week? Now, every week, Blair and I switch off. She 1 week she'll do date night and it'll be her responsibility. And then the next week, to keep it stimulating and fun, I'll do date night. And then, she can't say anything because this is my creation and my offer that I have to bring to the relationship. So that we go over that when it comes to date night. And then we talk about sex. Okay. How many times? And it sounds corny, but when you have 2 working people, sometimes you can overlook those things, and then sex becomes last when you get into bed. It's like, okay, so at least 3 times this week, or baby, I need you to flirt with me more. It's like my love tank feels empty, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm on it. So we talk about it so it doesn't build up into random things that's unnecessary energy that's like filtered throughout the relationship. Or she'll be like, baby, this week, I want you to go down on me. Got it. That's what she wants. Got it. She knows what she wants. I know what I want. And this is what it is. Baby, can you make a sex playlist? Yes, I'll make one. But we talk about it. You don't just go around. No, we talk about it. Get it on the court. So we talk about sex. And then the next thing we talk about is things left unsaid. Ooh, this is so good. So things never pile up because we have once a week where we bring the stuff, It really made me feel bad when, you brought home food for the nanny and your friend, and you knew I was home and you didn't bring me anything. It made me feel left out. And so we talk about it. And then she talks about her things. So the things don't pile up. Boom. So we get it all out. And then the last thing is we talk about acknowledgments. Acknowledgments for myself, because most people who are working all the time, they forget about the efforts in themselves. So the guy just feel like people don't appreciate me. Yeah, it's often because you don't appreciate yourself. So we acknowledge ourselves, and then we acknowledge something that we saw in our partner. And then that wraps up the love meeting, and it works like a freaking charm. You'll see when you try it one time, it works like a charm.
Wow. I hope everyone who's listening will implement it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Garrain. I loved our conversation. Is there anything you would love to add for anyone who's listening who feels, yes, I have this artist power inside, I want this relationship, but I don't know how to access it? Like, is there something you would give to them?
Well, of course, I have my book out, Change Your Mindset, Change Your Life. It's on Amazon. Actually, we just released a new cover, and then we have a hardcover and new exercises in the book. So anybody who has the book, you don't have this new version of it. So we just released a new version of it. I have another retreat coming up, which is called Artist Power Express. Which is called Awaken the Artist Within, but it's Artist Power Reinvention. It's all about reinventing yourself. So if you've got bigger goals, but you're not that person, then you've literally got to die to your old self and reinvent yourself to match the current goals that you have, or else you don't achieve them. So it's going to be 60 powerful, powerful, powerful light beings there. Tribe is going to be it's already out of this world. It's October 13th through the 16th. And then September 20th in Austin, I'm doing a 6-hour talk on stage to a group of about 250 people. And it is going to be how to cultivate a 7-figure holistic business utilizing connection, communication. It is for artists, it's for creators, anybody who's in the realm of just like expression, anybody in that realm, because you can make a lot of money stepping on other people's backs. But to have a meaningful business, and there's a lot of people that are wanting to create holistic businesses that are so far in the clouds that they don't reach a lot of people. I'm going to teach you how to do that in this 6-hour conversation. And I think the tickets are like $49 for 6 hours. You just come, it's in person, and it's going to be ridiculous. So, my website, Garrain Jones, Instagram, Garrain.Jones. And I'm always offering and serving and supporting.
Thank you for sharing. I have one last question I'll ask all of my listeners, and I invite you to close your eyes for this one. So if you imagine a younger version of yourself, sometimes there pops up an intuitive age, and you could say something to him that you gained through your journey that you know now that would have helped you along the way. What would you tell little Garrain?
You know what to do. Keep trusting. You know what to do.
What age came up for you?
13.
All right. Thank you, Garrain, for your time, for your wisdom, for your magic. And I will link everything in the show notes if anyone wants to come to your retreat or to your speech. Is it going to be online as well or just in person?
Oh, the retreat is just going to be online, but the speech we'll have something that'll have that online. Okay. But the retreat will be in person, and then we'll have the in-person talk, and then we'll have access to online as well.
Okay, amazing. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Wow, what a conversation. I hope you took a lot out of this call, and you can always come back to it, to listen to it over and over again when you feel stuck and overwhelmed and you doubt yourself. And then you listen to Garrain's story and you think, wow, anything is possible if I really start doing the work and start to connecting back to my own creative power. And connect with him on Instagram. He has a lot of value to share. I will add everything in the show notes. And just a little reminder that Soul Align, my 3 months healing and embodiment journey, will start in 20 days. So on the 25th of September, we are going to dive deep into your body. So if you're ready to do the work, if you're done with seeing the same results over and over again, if you can feel that you deserve and you desire more in your life, you want to be more connected to your sensuality, to your power, to your heart, to your voice. You want to really create the life that you desire so deeply, but you feel stuck right now. We're going to do the healing and embodiment work so you can feel safe in your body to become the woman that you are born to be, and to share your gifts with the world, to shine your light, to embody your sensuality, and to really create the safety in your nervous system to do so. So I would love to have a conversation with you if this program is calling your name. I shared a lot about this in the last few weeks. Head over to the show notes. You find the link for Soul Aligned there. And other than that, I see you next week.